Washington Post now walking back a bombshell story from early January to admitting in a lengthy correction that it, quote, misquoted former President Trump, telling Georgia's top elections investigator in a phone call to, quote, find the fraud in the state, adding that she would be a national hero if she did. Well, the newspaper saying a newly revealed audio recording of that call shows the former president never used those words. Fox's contributor Ari Fleischer here, former White House press secretary. And Ari, good morning to you. Based on the reporting here, the Wall Street Journal got an audio copy of the call, which seems to have forced the hand of the Washington Post. However, the story, it appears it was reported starting on or about the 23rd of December on NBC, USA Today, and ABC News, not necessarily in that order. What do you make of this now, Ari, today?
Well, there are two things going on. This is another devastating blow to the press when it comes to accuracy. It's just another sign of how when the press relied on anonymous anti-Trump sources and just gave them license to say whatever they want and put it into print, the press is its own worst enemy, and now they have more egg on their face. At the same time, Bill, I do have to point out there was another phone call that the president made 1 week later. This one in question was a December phone call to an investigator in Georgia. A week later, the president called the Secretary of State in Georgia and did say some things that the president should not have said, including fine some 11,000 votes. So it's not fully exculpatory for the president in the broader picture, but it certainly is a blow-up of the press narrative for that first phone call he made to an investigator.
And indeed, you know, it's very frustrating as a press secretary, Ari, for when the correction finally runs and it does not get as much attention as the original story, and that's just something they're going to have to deal with. Let me ask you about Joe Biden, the president. No news conferences yet. Of course, we have some numbers here. How many had been given in the first, as of March 16th? You see Bill Clinton, he liked to talk out there, 6 of them. President Trump, 5. And then you see our former boss, 3. The thing is, do you think that a little bit of this concern about him not giving a press conference is overwrought? Because the Biden administration is looking at their goals, and they're thinking, we're hitting all of our goals and all of our benchmarks. So they're going to withstand the pressure about a press conference while they continue to do that.
Well, but they're also creating more pressure. They are raising this event whenever he does hold his first news conference to way higher expectations than should be normal. Look, I spoke to a Republican member of Congress who had a meeting with President Biden about 10 days ago. It was about 10 members of Congress, and he said Biden was perfectly conversant. He didn't talk with notes. He can handle himself. So my question to the White House staff is, why are you doing this? Why are you hiding the man if he can be fine, if he is fast on his feet? I think they are building expectations to the point where Biden will never jump over them. And holding news conferences, as you know, Dana, is good for the White House. It's good for policy making. It forces people to settle disputes and finally arrive at decisions on key issues, because you know that's going to get asked. But I think that's the issue, and I'll turn it over to Bill. They're doing a disservice everywhere. I think the issue is that it's not so much that they're worried about him. Maybe they are, and his performance. I think that they don't have answers to so many questions that it would be very obvious that from the border to Iran to on and on. That would be my take. But
that's not really
you know, the other thing is Biden won't even take questions in a casual setting. George Bush, as you remember, Dana, regularly had the press pool in and would take 3, 4, 5 questions at a time, 3, 4 days a week. Biden won't even do that. He's lucky to answer a question walking away.
Ari, you're writing a book on this stuff right now. I don't sense any pressure from the people who cover the president to get him to act in a press conference. I don't get the sense that there's any pressure to act on the border. And in turn, the White House knows that. Yeah, you know, when these things happen to Republicans, the press goes into feeding frenzies. I mean, the pressure is immense. There are stakeouts everywhere. It's the only question people want to talk about. Reporters put Republicans on the defensive. Here, I call it touch and go. Yes, the press talks about it, they touch on it, but then they let it go and go on to another issue. It's so much easier to be a Democrat dealing with the press than a Republican. Oh.
But you're still glad you're you, right, Ari?
And I still love being press secretary, Dana.
Yeah, it was a great job. All right, thanks. Great to see you.
Thank you, Ari.